Final scene outside the same house at sunset. The dad, daughter, and woman stand together, smiling, holding hands. The daughter holds the teddy bear and a handmade card. Golden light, hopeful atmosphere, symbolizing love and new beginnings. The wipers squeaked across the windshield as Ethan slowed the car. The woman stood shivering under a flickering streetlight, her hair plastered to her face, clutching her coat tightly. "Hey, you okay?" Ethan called out through the half-open window. She turned, startled but relieved. "My car just died. I've been trying to get a tow truck for an hour, but no one's answering." But Ethan glanced at his sleeping daughter, then at the woman. Something told him this wasn't just a coincidence. "Hop in. I'll drive you somewhere safe." The woman hesitated. "I don't want to trouble you." "It's fine," Ethan interrupted gently. "No one deserves to be stranded out here." She got in, dripping water all over the seat. Her hands trembled slightly, not just from the cold. She introduced herself as Grace Mitchell, a teacher who had just moved to town. She was heading home after her first day at the new school. Ethan smiled faintly. "A teacher, huh? My daughter just started first grade. She's a handful." Grace smiled, her eyes softening. "They always are. But they're the best kind of handful." They talked all the way to the nearest diner, where Ethan insisted on getting her something warm to eat. Grace noticed the tired lines on his face, the worry behind his eyes, the worn-out work uniform that told a story of a man holding everything together on his own. "So, where's her mom?" she asked softly, glancing at Lily, who was now awake, sipping hot chocolate. Ethan's eyes dimmed. "She passed away 3 years ago. Car accident." He paused, voice cracking. "Been just me and Lily since then." Grace's expression filled with sympathy. "That must have been hard. Some days harder than others," he admitted. As the rain continued outside, something unspoken formed between them. Not romance, not yet, but a connection of two souls who had seen pain and still chose kindness. When the storm passed, Ethan offered to drive her home. Grace lived in a small rented house on the other side of town. Before leaving, she thanked him with genuine warmth. "Ethan, you didn't have to stop. But I'm glad you did. Not everyone would." He smiled. Sometimes the world needs a little kindness. But what Ethan didn't know, Grace would soon become more than just a woman he helped in the rain. She would become the reason his family's life took a turn he could never imagine. Weeks passed. Life returned to its usual rhythm: long shifts, unpaid bills, bedtime stories, and lonely nights. Then one morning, Ethan walked Lily to school and froze when he saw Grace, standing at the school gate, surrounded by kids.
"Dad, that's my new teacher!"
Lily shouted excitedly. Grace looked up, her face lighting up in recognition.
"Ethan."
"You didn't tell me Lily went here." They laughed, a genuine surprise warming the moment. From then on, Grace became part of their daily lives. School events, parent-teacher meetings, and sometimes simple dinners when Ethan was too tired to cook. Grace and Lily bonded instantly. She brought laughter back into the house. Baking cookies, helping with homework, teaching Lily how to paint. But beneath it all, Ethan carried guilt. He didn't want to replace Lily's mother. He didn't believe he deserved happiness again. One night, as they sat watching Lily sleep, Grace spoke softly. "Ethan, you've built something beautiful. Even through your pain, you don't have to carry everything alone." He looked away. "It's hard to let someone in again." Grace nodded. "I know. But sometimes, life brings people back into our path for a reason. It wasn't love at first sight. It was something deeper, healing." Months passed, and Grace noticed Ethan struggling financially. His small mechanic shop was failing. Without saying a word, she began spreading the word at school, recommending his services. Soon business picked up again. Ethan's eyes started to hold hope instead of exhaustion. But Grace had her own secret. She wasn't just a teacher. She was the daughter of a late entrepreneur who had left behind a large trust fund. She had walked away from her old life to live simply, to matter for who she was, not for what she had. When Ethan found out, he was stunned. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because I didn't want to be seen as someone who gives charity. I just wanted to help someone who reminded me what kindness feels like." One evening, Lily ran up to Grace with a handmade card that said, "Thank you for fixing our hearts." Ethan stood beside her, his eyes glassy. "You didn't just help us, Grace. You changed our future." Grace smiled through tears. "No, Ethan. You did, the moment you stopped that night in the rain. Sometimes, life's biggest blessings come disguised as strangers in the rain. One small act of kindness can ripple through time, healing hearts, mending families, and reminding us that love always finds